Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this new tutorial we're gonna take a look on one of the basic algorithms that can be used inside Unreal Engine to move, spawn objects, classes, actors, meshes along a spline and move them alongside of it with a certain speed. In this video we're gonna learn how to create a new blueprint and add a new spline component to it, how to spawn meshes evenly alongside the spline, and how to move them with a certain speed. Without further ado, let's start. So let's start by creating the folder blueprints, and let's create a new blueprint class, actor, and let's call it BP Spline. This will be the class that we're gonna use to spawn and move actors along spline. So for things to do, let's add a new component. Let's search for the spline component. Here's our spline. Let's make it a little bit far from on the X axis, so it can be easy to manipulate using the editor. Now let's create a new variable will contain the list of actors that we want to spawn and move along the spline. So let's create a new variable. Let's call it actors list. Let's make it public. Let's make it an actor, and let's select the class reference. We don't want an already spawned object in the scene. We want the class of the actor we're gonna spawn. And let's click here and select array, so we can have a list of actor classes. Now let's create a new function, and let's call it spawn actors. So the blueprint will spawn the actors in the begin play, and then in the tick it will move these actors along the spline. So the first function you're gonna create is the spawn actors, and this function will spawn evenly actors following the spline. So to do that, we need to have the spline, we need to have the actors list, and we need to define the distance, the split distance that those actors will be placed in along the spline. So let's get spline length. You're gonna have the total length of the spline. Let's have the length of the list, so the number of elements in the list. Let's make sure we have at least one object. Let's search for greater than 0, and let's do a small condition. So if it's greater than 0, we will do the job of spawning actors, and if our list is an empty list, we don't have nothing to do. So let's divide the spline length by the length of the actors list, so that we have a split distance. And let's promote this to local variable. Let's call it split distance, and let's set it here. Now what we have to do, we're gonna have the actors list. Let's reroute it here, and let's do a for each loop. We're gonna get in each time, and we're gonna spawn an actor. So let's get the distance here. First thing to do here is spawn actor from class. The class will be the class of the actor designed in the list. Normally will be an actor or actors or objects inheriting from the actor class. And here we need a spawn transform. First thing to do is to multiply by the index, and now we need our spline component. Let's do the get transform at distance along spline. This method will give us the transform locally or globally on the spline. Let's choose the world coordinate space. So we have the distance on the transform of the world. We don't have to check the use scale. We want a uniform scale of 1, 1, 1. And now let's put this here. And we want to save these spawned actors. So let's create a new variable called spawned actors map. We want it to be actors reference this time. We want it to be a map, and the key value will be the float, and this float will be the distance at which the actor is located. And here we're gonna get our map. We're gonna do add. So the key will be the spawned actor, and the value will be the split distance multiplied here. So let's promote this to a local variable. Let's promote it to a local variable called init distance. It's the init distance that will be plugged in here, and it's the init distance that will be set here. So now we have saved our spawned actors in the map with the following distance. So this is the function that we're gonna use to spawn actors along the spline just in the begin play. So let's get back, let's go to the event graph, and here we have the begin play. Let's just get the function, put it here, and spawn actors. Now to test this function, we need to add our class, our blueprint to the level. Let's create and add some new spline points to make it some more interesting as a shape. And now to test the function that we have created, we need to fill the actors list. To do so, let's create a new function. Let's create a new class, new blueprint. Here, actor. It's called BP example actor. This blueprint is just an example of an actor that has only static mesh, and this static mesh will be randomly generated from a list of static meshes. To do so, let's add a static mesh component. Let's add a new variable called meshes list that will contain a list of static meshes. Let's make it public or private, doesn't matter. We will fill it here in the default details. Let's make it a list. And now let's go back to the engine. Let's filter by static meshes, and let's add some meshes. Let's add the cone, add the diamond. Let's scroll down. Let's add this control rig sphere. Let's add this cylinder. Let's add the default cube. And let's add a normal sphere here. Okay, Now go to the constructor, let's get the static mesh, let's get the meshes list, let's get a random array item, and here set the static mesh. And this is in the constructor, so each time we enter the constructor we have a new mesh. That's it. So the cube is a little bit big. We have chosen the wrong cube. So this cube, what is its size? It's 256. We need the 100. Let's get here, let's change our cube, compile, and here we have randomly generated meshes. This actor will only be used as an example of actors that can be spawned and moved along the spline. So this class is just created for this example, for this tutorial, just to have something to move and spawn along the spline. Now let's test the spawn function and see whether it spawns actors evenly along the spline. So let's remove the filter, get back to the content, blueprints, and select the BP example actor. Add an element here, click on the arrow to select the blueprint from the content browser, hit the little arrow here and hit duplicate. Let's create 5 elements in the array, for example. Now let's hit play, and we have 5 elements spawned evenly along the spline. Let's select the spline, let's take a look. We have 5 elements spawned evenly here along the spline. Now let's go to create the second function, which is the move actor, the function that will move our actors along the spline. So hit the plus icon, let's create a new function called move actor. This function will move an actor at a time, so it will be used inside a for loop. So this function needs to have 2 inputs, the actor to move in actor of type actor, and the second input will be the distance along the spline. So in distance, and it will be a float, it will be the distance along the spline. So to do so, we need to get the spline, and we need to move the actor following the speed. So let's create a new variable that's called speed. Let's make it public. Let's move it along here, and let's make it single and make it a float. Let's give it a default value of 100, compile and save. So let's get the speed, get the spline, we're gonna use it later, and now we need to calculate the new distance on which we will place the actor. So let's get the speed, let's multiply it by the world delta seconds, the FPS of our game. Let's multiply it here, and let's add it to the actual distance, the distance on which the actor is already placed along the spline. So let's add it, and let's promote it to a local variable. Let's call new distance. Okay, so here we have the new distance, the distance that will be used later to move the actor. Now let's get the spline. Let's do the same as we have done with the spawning function. Let's get transform at distance along spline, Let's switch the coordinate space to world. Let's put the distance as the new distance here. And let's get our actor. And let's set actor transform. And let's set the new transform. Okay, so here we're gonna move the actor to the new location along the spline, following the new distance calculated here. And then we need to keep the new distance in the spawned actors map, so that in the next tick we're gonna call it and have it again. So let's get the add this function. If the key value exists already, it will overwrite the value. So the key will be the actor, like this, and the value will be the new distance. New distance, set it here, and that's it. This function will now move the actor along the spline, following the speed put as a variable in the blueprint. Let's get back to the event graph, to the event tick. Let's get the spawned actor map. Let's get the keys. Here we have the keys. Let's do it for each loop. Now let's call the find function to get the distance along spline. And now let's call the move actor. Move actor. The in actor will be the actor as a key, and the distance will be the actual distance in the map. That's it. Let's get back to our level and let's hit play, and here we have our objects moving along the spline. Let's put a higher speed. Let's take a look. Now objects are moving along the spline, but they are stopping at the end. Let's make sure actors will reset to the initial part of the spline. Get back to the BP spline. Let's get back to the move actor. Here, when we calculate the new distance, we need to compare it to the length of the spline. Let's move these a little bit longer. Let's get our spline, and let's get the spline length. Let's compare it okay. Okay, let's compare it to the new distance. Let's do the branch. So if the new distance is greater or equal to the spline length, let's get the new distance here and let's set it to 0. Else do nothing, like this. And now let's get back here, select the BB spline, and now we see that each time the object gets to the end of the spline, it resets to the beginning of the spline. Let's add more objects, hit play, and that's it. So that's it, guys, for this tutorial. I hope you like it. Don't forget to like, subscribe. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section. And thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.